White House is expanding its foreclosure prevention efforts in what some are calling a homeowner bailout, perhaps long awaited. Welcome to the News Hub. I'm Kelly Evans, joined by Dennis Berman this morning.
Good morning to you.
We're missing Evan Newmark. I gotta say, it's Friday. It just doesn't feel right. But you know, he wanted to be on the slopes.
On we move. In fact, I've got a special souvlaki for you today.
Oh, wonderful.
The Greek bailout package appears to be here.
Right,
so
right.
Afterwards, we'll get you some souvlaki and fries.
Wonderful. I think I have to be in support of this plan after all. We'll get a brief update on that later in the show. We're also going to talk about the cost that some companies are taking as a result of the healthcare overhaul. Ellen Schultz is here to discuss it, and MGM later. But first, let's go right to James R. Haggerty, who's in Pittsburgh and covering this story on the Obama administration's foreclosure plan. So, James, at this point, what do we know about the plan? And explain us what a couple of the most interesting pieces of this are as well.
Well, the main points are two. One, there will be temporary relief for people who are unemployed, and they'll get 3 to 6 months of relief on their payments in the hopes that they can get another job and then catch up on their mortgage.
Right.
The other element, which is bigger and more controversial, is an attempt to deal with the people who are underwater, who owe way more on their mortgage than the current value of their house. And there are two parts of that. One part is for people who are underwater and really can't afford their payments. And so they'll be given, in some cases, a smaller loan balance, as well as lower interest rates and maybe a longer period to pay. There's another type of borrower who can afford to pay the mortgage, but is way underwater, and so is saying, is it really worthwhile to keep paying this mortgage on this terrible investment I've made? And for them, there will be an attempt to allow them to try to refinance into a smaller loan backed by the FHA.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that it seems the FHA's role in this, again, there's a lot of people curious how much taxpayer money is at stake here, and ultimately how much aid needs to be directed to homeowners at this point, and how much banks may be on the hook for it.
And how do they determine who is which? One is sort of the struggling payer, and one is the capable payer.
Well, they have all kinds of complicated formulas, and that's one of the problems with this. It's not a silver bullet. It's just the latest tweak in trying to come to grips with this ever-changing crisis. It will take a long time to determine who's qualified and who isn't, and there will be lots of complaining about that.
Right. I think I overpaid for a TV a little while ago. Can I get a refund on that? Because the prices have gone down. I'm underwater on my TV.
That's right, Dennis. I'm curious too what this means for the banks who are involved. You know, there's a lot of question about how much losses they still need to take for residential real estate, for other kinds of loans. Is this sort of drawing out the home clearing process, or is there more?
Well, you know, they've taken Sorry, go ahead, Bob.
They try to address the problem of the banks who have a lot of second lien mortgages on their books, home equity loans. And these have been sort of blocking progress because while the holder of the first mortgage might be willing to do a deal, often the holder of the second mortgage, often a bank, doesn't want to give up the value of that second mortgage. Now they're trying to increase the incentives for that holder of the second mortgage to write it way down.
Right, and of course, you know, a lot of banks, even though they've taken huge write-downs, they still have a hold for maturity loan portfolio. So only till they show a delinquency will they actually write it off. So you are in a situation where I guess conceivably there could be greater hits to these portfolios. But still, that said, you know, bank stocks are doing very well. J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs, not same as a commercial bank, but they're trading at levels that they were in mid-2006, their stock prices. So at least, you know, investors aren't terrorized by the prospects of these loan modifications.
Exactly, and again, you know, the government has signaled that it will help absorb those losses. The government, of course,
isn't that nice?
Taxpayers.
I want my refund on my TV.
James, thanks a lot for that, and we'll go to Steve Jelsey now, who's watching what else is happening in the markets this morning.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly.